What's going on, YouTube? It's okmall. Today we're going to be tackling a tier 5 undead dungeon with my Mahir light armor and heavy shield build. But before we get into today's video, don't forget, if you haven't done so already, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified for any future video content. Now, throughout this video, I don't actually have any active commentary. I'll butt in every now and then, provide some insights. Another thing I want to touch on as this video progresses is that I had a really bad experience inside of this dungeon here. A couple of factors against it. We do have a miasma based tier 5. Really sucks to have to monitor that all the time. So I won't lie to you guys, I did die like 3 or 4 times in this dungeon before I finally completed it. So it's definitely doable. It was just terrible experience overall. The build held up well enough, but this has got to be the hardest tier 5 dungeon I've found in a long time. Quite often when we pop into tier 5 dungeons, there's a fair decent mix between the tier 5 and the tier 4 enemies to where it's manageable, right? With this particular build, we have very low damage, decent enough defense, but that can get overwhelmed quickly when you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies, which happened quite often in this one. Plus, with the undead dungeon, you also have to fight the fact that there are ranged damage dealers or ranged mages that have the ability to resurrect. So if they resurrect a really strong, very tanky enemy, it's almost like you're battling a fight of attrition, and it's just really hard to overcome that. You'll see that a lot throughout the fights here. So I'll leave you guys with that. Keep in mind, I will pop in every now and then and just talk about certain fights and why I use certain abilities over others. So sit back, relax, and I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thanks. Now, before I show you guys the final clear, the one that we actually went from start to finish and didn't die on, I want to show a couple of fights off that kind of showcase what the build is capable of. This one in particular, we're fighting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enemies. I'm not too sure if anything else shows up, but you'll notice 2 heavy shield guys and a 2-handed axe tier 4 or tier 5 enemy shows up on top of the 2 undead zombies. We held our own fairly well during this fight, and I was pretty confident after this encounter that we could manage the whole dungeon without a problem. But that is not necessarily the case. So I'm going to show this off, and then I'm going to show you guys a couple of deaths that happened and kind of the stupidity behind them, because some of it's my fault and other ones just, what the heck is this game trying to throw at us? So enjoy this little encounter, and then I'll show you the deaths that happened and kind of how I got into those predicaments that killed us off. Now, this encounter here marks my very first death, and there's a couple of things that I did wrong. Obviously, I'm walking straight up into these guys because my thought process is I can make it to them. I have 90 HP. I should be able to get to the guy who resurrects before he can take me down. Couple things I didn't think about. I had smoke in my inventory, pretty sure. Probably should have used that. I didn't. What are you gonna do, right? I made some goofball mistakes here, and I just go to town on this guy. The problem I encounter is, you notice he's taking very little damage. I didn't inspect him enough to see how much stacks he had, how much he is decreasing his own damage that he takes. And plus, I'm getting racked up on pain. I'm intoxicated because of the miasma. It's just a whole mixture of things that were going wrong right now. And it was a terrible experience. But regardless, we died. My bad. If this was permadeath, maybe make some more better choices. It it was still frustrating enough to die and have to reload and do it all over again. But regardless. Now this next death of mine, admittedly, was my fault. I definitely overstepped. Wasn't playing it careful. Knew that I should be looking out for certain enemies. I just assumed I had it since I only saw 2 enemies. And then lo and behold, I turned the corner and you guys already see it's absolutely terrible. Well, now I'm like, let's go ahead and use the smoke. He resurrects the guy I kill, blocking my path, which was really unfortunate. So now I got to kill this thing again. Meanwhile, everybody else is showing up to this party. I have a tier 5 heavy shield user who's going to block my path yet again. Meanwhile, everything is getting buffed and I'm getting slapped in the face by the mage character there that has resurrections. So it was, I got like, oh, well, I got to step here. Otherwise he's going to resurrect, right? So I think I stepped there. Or do I use something else? Of course I use something else. Why wouldn't I not do something differently than that? But regardless, this was a terrible situation to be in. I only had 1 smoke. Probably should have brought more than that. And then now I have 2 mages to blast me in the face while buffing and healing every other enemy on the map. So yeah, now we have 3 mages on us. What are you going to do? Nothing, right? So we just sit here and then there's another resurrection. So it's just a terrible, terrible experience. And at this point, I'm like, there's nothing I can do. Just reload. So I didn't actually die there, but we definitely reloaded the game. Now this next fight, I didn't die right here, but I just wanted to show this off because somehow I lived. And there is a lot of enemies here. So we did really, really well. I was monitoring my block power, my dodge chance, the whole 9 yards. Now, you'll notice there is a couple of mages here. I think I count 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, the hardest one being where I smoked. So I smoked because I didn't want him to take advantage of the chaos that is ensuing currently. And we just kind of go and do the best that we can to survive this. It was a bit much. It was a bit much, but somehow I managed. You'll notice I just continually keep an eye on my block power as we continue to just take this down. A couple of good things, though, is that some of these mages were causing the enemies to explode. And I believe an exploded enemy does not have the ability to be resurrected. So that was helpful for us. So, yes, let's just keep watching this and just enjoy me surviving some crazy, crazy fight here. there you have it. We survived. A little worse for wear, but this was the last enemy. Now I just got to heal myself up. Not a terrible encounter when you consider how many enemies were attacking us the whole time. So I'm satisfied with this one. Now this next death, it was kind of annoying. I turned the corner after fighting quite a few enemies, and as you can tell, there's a whole bunch of bodies there, and I'm realistically only fighting a couple of different enemies here. I figured, what the heck, let's go after the archer so he doesn't peg me in the back of the head. Meanwhile, a 2-handed axe guy shows up to the mix. I think I've already used my smoke once already here, so I don't have smoke. And I do have a net, so I go ahead and throw the nets, try to take him down a wee bit. Meanwhile, I'm getting, shot by an archer and taken down by the mage. Finally, archer's dead, so now we got to take this guy down before ultimately going for the mage. Severe pain, so my healing efficiency's down. And I'm just trying to determine what's the best course of action. Do I take on the mage? Do I go after the other guy, right? Well, consider the 2-handed axe user just used Will to Survive. He's going to be hitting super hard, which is unfortunate. So he just starts to destroy my body. And it's over with. It's over with. There's nothing I can do. That marks death number, well, attempt number 3, I think. At this point, I was quite frustrated. So I brought a crossbow that maybe I could whittle some enemies' HP down before they get to us. Keep in mind, I do not have take aim. Meaning that my shots, well, their accuracy isn't all that low. I think it's around 60 to 70%. It's still low enough against these enemies here that we don't hit all the time. You've seen how fruitless that was. It didn't really do that well. And I've already threw the idea of using a crossbow out the window. So I stopped using it. But this is the final attempt. So I'm going to leave this in here. I'll pop in every now and then. If there's a really, really good fight, we'll talk about it. If you guys are wondering, we did have to save and exit because I had an appointment to get to, but we didn't really change anything, just popped out, and when we got back into the game, we continued where we left off. So here we have another big fight ahead of us. As you can tell, there's a lot of enemies and more are coming around the corner. We don't know what the other two question marks are, so we got to figure out what to do. Do we smoke right now? Do we wait? Ultimately, I decide to remove intoxication and decrease my pain. Next move up, we just go ahead and get out of vision, and this is the point in time where I start using my smoke bomb. We're just going to lay that down in a place where it's going to be advantageous for us, but at a disadvantage for any of the enemies stepping into that. Now we can go ahead and buff up and proceed with the rest of this fight. One thing to touch on is you'll notice that I'm keeping an active eye on my block power, block chance, and dodge chance. I can't stress it enough. Keeping an eye on that allows you to know what skills to use, if I should start dodging, or if I can block certain attacks. Especially against two-handed axe wielders. Two-handed axe wielders have usually a passive that will decrease your maximum block power. So just keep an eye on that, especially when I'm fighting a two-handed axe user. You don't want to get stuck in a situation where you don't have that. Now, I believe this guy that we're fighting isn't an axe wielder. He's a spearman, and we also have a shield user here. So you'll see me kind of bounce back and forth between dodge and block the whole time. Now, once the smoke settles, you'll see what I see. A very terrible resurrection mage. And I'm like, well, shoots and ladders. This is annoying. I don't recall how I handled this situation. I know that I managed it. I don't know what I do here. We'll watch it together. We attack that guy. He gets blown up, which means that he's no longer a threat. I think I take this next mage out. Or I actually dodge in. Yeah, that's what it was. So he got resurrected. Now I'm surrounded by folks and I can't get away. And now it's just a matter of taking this one mage out so he can't resurrect any longer. And hope I make it through this fight. Use elusiveness there. I think we have to kill him as quickly as possible. So he got blown up because of the other mage's skill that he used. And now it's about time we take on the scariest enemy there, which is that two-handed sword user. It's either that or I go back against the mage. I don't recall. I guess I go for the mage here. Just take him out so we can stop buffing everybody. Heal up a little bit with first aid. Use a vivifying essence after the first aid so we can get a full heal off. And then just take this mage out so he stops buffing this two-handed sword user. There we go. He's down. No longer does two-handed sword guy have any buffs. And just keep monitoring my block power. Now everybody's dead. Now everybody's dead. Good job. Surprised I survived that. Being surrounded. It's always a pretty scary experience. Now, as I pulled these enemies, you'll notice we have another mage that can resurrect, and now I'm thinking, what the heck am I supposed to do? I don't want to pull him and then he resurrects the other mage, right? So now we have two mages that can resurrect. I'm thinking possibly use a paregorks. I have this this miasma that's constantly draining my intoxication. I think I choose not to do that, and instead I think I either go for a I don't know what I'm doing actually. Not a clue. But we're gonna try to get him pulled by himself and see if we can't make it work where he doesn't resurrect this other body. So just keep watching. We're gonna try to pull these all one by one. All right, so we go ahead and we rush him and immediately put all of his attacks on a cooldown and just trade a couple blows, ultimately defeating him without him resurrecting his buddy. All right, y'all, at this point in the dungeon, I noticed that my fatigue is way too high. I'm intoxicated like every other turn. So I make the decision that we have to go back to the caravan, but not just to the caravan. We're actually gonna walk all the way back to Bryn. Bryn is within 4 to 5 tiles of this particular dungeon. So we're gonna walk all the way there. I'm gonna grab some money. I'm gonna be buying a bunch of food up. Try to get my intoxication or my immunity back up to as close to 125% as possible. buy some more antitoxins, whatever I need to do to make this work. Now, just outside of this dungeon, we did kill one more ghoul to level up, and I'm deciding where to put my points. I think I'll ultimately just go for strength. Keep getting that strength up. That strength's going to help us with our weapon damage, our block chance, and our block power. Next ability point, I put it in Will Survive. So once we level up, we'll have 2 ability points to spend on our very next level up. So now that I'm back inside of the dungeon from the Bryn trip, I went ahead, I rested back up. I have Mahir's prayer buff, and I used the globe to, instead of getting life drain with the globe for like 1400 turns, I decided to get the sturdiness buff, which, if you look at the top of the screen, is the one that's yellow with a fist. I think the sturdiness buff grants us like 30 additional HP, fortitude. I'm not entirely sure all of the buffs, but I thought that one might actually be way better for us than the extra life drain. Now, during this boss fight, I thought I had it in the bag. Super easy. The boss is right in front of me until he spawns this ghost in. And I'm like, okay, no big deal. Let's hit the ghost down really quickly. I'm in a little bit more of a dire situation than initially thought, as you guys will see here. Now he summons 2 ghosts. I take on one of them. I can now get a little bit closer to this guy. Go ahead and pop elusive. Heal up a little bit. You can tell I'm taking a lot of damage. It's just wild. We don't want to hit him with our shield bash because that'll just knock him away. And I'm still taking a crap ton of damage. I think eventually I use Will to Survive here, or maybe I completely forget the skill even exists. I think I completely forgot it exists. Yes. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I need to summon another ghost. Now we have 2 sword ghosts on us. Then I dash away. Now I just got the 1 ghost to take care of. And now I go ahead and use Will to Survive. And I look to see how much damage reduction I had, which is 36. I could have used it far sooner, but what are you going to do? There we go. So the boss is taken care of. Now what I need is do the archer and loot this chest and find out what other extra items we can gain off of this dungeon. As far as the dungeon loot's concerned, the only thing I'm really taking with this is the funeral mask, though I don't actually end up using this at all throughout this the rest of my playthrough with this run. Now I do continue to clear this dungeon. I want to get extra experience so that when we go to clear our next tier 5 dungeons, it's going to be a little bit easier for us. We want to have a little bit higher level. I don't have my build exactly where I want it just yet, so we'll finish clearing this place off. Now this here is another example of a poorly made decision on my part. The thought process was that I would be able to kill the skeleton, swordsman, and the mage would just walk to me. Didn't exactly turn out that way. He ends up resurrecting this guy. I got to fight him twice. It turned out to be really, really bad. Almost killed myself. So here's where he gets resurrected again, and I'm like, okay, should be fine, but not really. He's taking so little damage, and he's getting healed up, and I'm like, oh, this is this is not good. Like every other turn, it seems like he's healing for 15 or 20. So I continue to trade blows, another 16 heal. He goes back into parry. He's going to start doing damage to us. I don't know what to do from here. So I think maybe if I step in, he will attack me instead of wasting some turns on the enemy. And it's not working in my favor at all. It's just a very, very bad situation. Now right here, I get extremely lucky that he just sacrificed that thing and blew it up. So that helped immensely. Had he not done that, I don't think I would have been able to outdamage the heals he was providing. So very, very scary. Very bad decision on my part to do that. So this fight here marks the end of the dungeon. So as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this channel with your friends and family. I'll catch y'all next time. So this fight here will mark the end of the dungeon. I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. And if you did, please like, comment, subscribe, share this channel with your friends and family. And I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.